Welcome to Into the Pit, Bald Move's officially unofficial podcast for The Pit on HBO. I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
We're back for another episode. It's 2 p.m. It's season 2. It's episode 8. We are a mere 1 hour away from the deposition. 1 hour, man. It's tantalizing. I can hear it. I can see it. We get a little bit of movement on that today. But
4th of July, Saturday afternoon, high profile depositions. We'll get a little bit more about. So the other thing is, like, I had dawning realization that this is the mom who didn't want her sons to be vaccinated and didn't believe in that, and had meningitis and didn't want to do a spinal tap. And I forget the doctor. It's not Davis, who's the night one of the night senior residents.
Abbott.
No. The lady that had the monologue with Dr. King. But yeah, she was
Collins?
She was her supervisor, and King is the one that did the epidural, and this has come back to bite him. And I was infuriated when I made that realization. Because not only is Doug Driscoll going to evade justice, but this stupid mom is abusing the justice system to try to claw back any kind of accountability or blame for what she herself did to her family.
Gonna try to. It doesn't seem like it's gonna work, though. I think the lawyers got this one. Like, if they have records where like this went off without a hitch and it's a recommended procedure for the affliction, like, yeah.
No, I think they're gonna win. I think this is gonna be a slam dunk. And my only thing is, I do wonder if, because she did this extra legal monologuing, and since Dr. King seems like she's got a shaky user interface and, you know, maybe not has the best defenses, or why, I wonder if they'll like win procedurally because they'll be able to get her to admit that they colluded, or,
oh boy,
you know, or even just spoke. So I don't know. I don't know, but I hope they win. I hope they win, because I don't want that lady to. I want that lady to lose. Other than that, this felt like, well, not other than that, this felt like a Calm Before the Storm episode, you know, like...
it felt pretty stormy to me with the analog stuff, but okay, I see what you mean, like patient-wise, yeah.
It hasn't really got bad. Like, they're like getting it and understanding, okay, do this, do that, but we haven't really seen the fallout of these procedures. And we haven't really, you know, it's been a little bit of a lull. We had like, what, 3 new patients this episode. Seems like we're going to be streeting a lot of patients that we have been dealing with this season.
Street that fucking baby, man. Treat it and street it. Get it out there.
Baby Jane Doe. Got a Baby Jane Doe update for you. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why this baby is the backbone that the entire season is being built upon. But by God, I can't get enough of Super Baby.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah. But I feel you. Yeah. Not a lot of new patients, not a lot of movement on the patients we have. A little more detail, like in the Roxy case, things are like building a little bit to a place. Robbie's got some insight into that. There's a little movement, but
the other thing is, like, the Calm Before the Storm is, like, we've seen, you know, patients be ingrateful. We've seen patients abusing doctors. I don't know that we've seen this many times patients heartfeltly telling doctors, thank you for everything that you're doing for me. Yeah. So it feels like that's another kind of like why this feels like a lull, because like all the doctors essentially got built up, you know, in this episode, except for Langdon, maybe.
I just want to say, like, there's almost nothing that gets me more in the feels than just a really heartfelt and well-earned thank you.
Yep.
I don't know why. Just like that expression of gratitude is so overwhelmingly delightful. Yeah. That I just really, I loved it. 2 of those in this episode.
I think if we want those kind of comments, we should try saving people's lives more often.
That's hard.
Merely entertaining them with
review television and get those comments. Like,
I don't know. I was gonna say, reviewing other fictional doctors in a kind of vulgar way. I don't know. I don't know if you get that kind of accolades and thanks, but yeah, no. To take your point, that's something I think we could all do better as a society. I've been trying to work more on just giving compliments to strangers, male strangers especially. Hey man, your beard looks great. Because like people don't get compliments, people don't get sincere thanks, and it's easy to do. It makes people feel good. You don't have to lie, but like, yeah, it's rare to go outside and not see someone that's, you know, you can tell put themselves together and is proud about it. And
or when you see somebody doing something good, maybe, maybe
acknowledge that shit. So
yeah,
I like this episode, but again, it felt like it was a bit of a lull, a little bit of a calm before the storm, which is wild since, you know,
it literally has a scene.
Hurricane.
Yeah, it has a scene where they're looking out. Robbie's looking out into the bullpen here and being like, "This is chaos."
Yeah, and I think that's next episode is where it's really going to step up, because I bet we get a couple of critical patients. There's going to be some paperwork snafus, and there's like we went from like some people not being able to do the system like Santos, but like now we've got a system that like even our all-star students poorly understood. I thought that the Ogilvy Dr. J face-off was showing that. That's like, you know, well, I've got the chart. Well, I'm the one to put my name. It's like, oh my God, so many multiple points of failure. So many young people have no idea how carbon paper works. That have never had to deal with like paperwork. So should be fun.
Before we get into the actual discussion here, I wanted to bring something up that a listener wrote in, because I can't remember if we mentioned this in passing or didn't mention it at all, but it's definitely something I recognized when I saw it. It was probably in my notes somewhere, but Reverend Anna writes in and says, "I'm surprised in the episode with the survivor of the Tree of Life synagogue that neither of you commented on her thanking Perla, the Muslim nurse, for the Muslim community paying for the funerals of those who died."
I thought I specifically did that. Like I had this whole thing about sometimes groups that have great differences and historical grievances, it's like even more meaningful when they could, like, sometimes this can bring them closer together, because it's like, you know, the story of the Samaritan, who is really my brother. It's like stuff like that make things like that work. But anyway, we can talk about it more.
We produce long podcasts. Your attention wanders. Maybe Reverend Anna here just missed it, but she does bring up something that I really think is a good call here. She herself is a minister, and she says, you asked what characters do you like to see on the Pit. I like to see more chaplains and more ministers, because they are always, you know, a lot of time brought in to help guide people through these tough situations, or, you know, to the end of their lives, like a death doula or something. But I don't think we've seen any of those yet on this show. I don't know what ER did with those, but it feels like that is a little missing piece here.
There has to be a couple of chaplains of different faiths that they have on call. It's a blind spot we have there, Reverend, because I got my fill of organized religion in my late 20s and early 30s, and I've kind of opted out. But I'd say also the older I get, like 10 years ago, if I went to the hospital and they're like, religious affiliation, do you want spiritual count? I'd be like, fuck no. I might roll the dice talking to a minister nowadays. I'd know within 30 seconds if I wanted more than just to get to know them. But you know, a lot of the ministers I've talked to of you know, people with religious training, you know, like our Maester Anthony, has got doctorates, and they're like pretty wise people, you know, just in if you're a good one, you have to spend time listening to people's problems. You have to counsel them. Yes, you have the base wisdom from the Bible, but you also have experience of what, you know, life looks like outside that. And I have really good discussions with non-dogmatic, non-evangelical religious people.
Yeah. And I don't think you see a lot of great depictions of ministers, priests, things like that in media. Usually they'll have some quirk that makes them less likable than I think the really good ones are. Like Wake Up Dead Man? Yeah, like they're former boxers who like to punch out other priests. I don't know.
Or no, I was talking about the Josh Brolin. He's a racist, hateful demagogue that's wanting to get, you know, rich on social media. Yeah, you're right. You don't get a lot of positive depictions of ministers. Like, you got to go back to like Father Gabriel in The Walking Dead, and even he only achieved grace because like he was a big shitweasel at the beginning.
Yep. So I agree. I would like to see a couple of more religion-based things because it's a big part of a lot of people's lives.
Couldn't Hoyt. And yeah, that should be you then need you talk about holistically caring for people. Like, you can't just treat them as a piece of meat. You got to also treat their mental and emotional. And a lot of, I think probably everyone has some kind of spiritual need, even if you wouldn't call it that. But yeah, if you've been raised in a tradition, that's when you need that stuff most. So they should provide it.
All right.
I wish there was, imagine if there's religious insurance coverage where it's like the pastor comes up, it's like, "Ooh, you're Blue Cross. I'm Red Cross. I'm sorry. I can't give you your last rites. If I do, it's going to be out of network and your family's going to have to pay 10X. It's like, really, we should probably send you on an ambulance to the Catholic hospital where they have like an actual priest who can take confession. And it's fucking silly, man. But I am so ready to talk about this episode.
Let's do it.
All right. I know it's your favorite thing. It's the most important topic. It's a solid, sturdy, cartilaginous, soft spot having backbone of this season. It's the super baby, aka Baby Jane Doe. She is running a fever, but she doesn't have a bacterial infection, so it's just a cold. And the complication this episode is they can't take her into the infant gin pop because she's sick. And it's a waste of a private room to house an otherwise healthy baby. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to do a shotgun foster care that you can get, they say CYF, Children, Youth, and Family Services involved, and they could get an emergency foster by tomorrow, which seems scary in other directions. But,
and also too late. Too little, too late. Like, they're in crisis right now. They need this baby out of this room, not tomorrow morning. I've got a better solution. Get a sling, strap it to Whitaker. He'll be great with this baby. He's got practice. Donnie could do it. Donnie would love to do it. He doesn't even hear the crying.
Santos is the singer, though,
Oh, yeah, the baby whisperer.
The magic touch.
She can't handle it right now. She's got too much on her plate.
If you need a bed and she's otherwise healthy, then just park her in the same car carrier that she came in, off to the side, like with the other, and like when she cries, check, feed her, make sure her diapers. Yeah, you just do that. You don't need a bed. She's got one. She brought one with her.
Right?
I cannot wait to see where this is going. And I'm at this point, I'm almost hoping that like it doesn't go anywhere. It's just like, oh yeah, we got her set to foster, and then the shift ends and we never find out. Cause like I'm trying to think is like what could really flip my wig if they take 10, 12 episodes to tell Baby Jane Doe's story.
Yeah. This is actually a full-grown human that's just
it's a Benjamin
presenting as a baby. Oh yeah, aging in reverse. It was the mother. This baby was the mother that became the baby.
Oh my god.
Aging in reverse.
Yeah. That's a fast reverse age, man. You came there carrying your own basket, and you just devolve on the spot.
Yeah. Plus, you knew you were gonna have to wait, and you knew you'd be a baby by the time you got seen. I don't know. You always hear people saying, I'm going to be an old man before I get seen or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to be a baby before I get seen.
Or it's like the old folks that can feel in their bones when the storm's coming. Oh, I feel whatever the opposite of growth spurt is coming on. I feel a growth retardation coming on. I don't know, man. All right, Baby Jane Doe. She's in stable condition. She's taking formula well. We'll see how she does next episode. Moving on to what everybody's been frantically upset about, Harlow Graham. She is a 32-year-old young deaf woman with stomach and head pain. And finally, thank God, we have a qualified translator and Santos' attention span lined up long enough to get this woman some help. What do you think of this, Jim?
Yeah, and it turns out she's just got some muscle pain from looking down at her laptop too much.
Yep.
I don't know about you. I try and keep my monitors eye level.
I do too. Because if I'm looking up or looking down, man, I got this big, giant, abnormally sized head, And if I get it off balance, man, the neck muscles just start straining. It's funny that's like, you know, there's if you so when your employers demand you to go back to work, they're actually trying to save your posture and neck. You know, they know that you're curled up on your couch or you're slumming into bed, and it's just bad for they need you back in the office for your spinal health.
I guess so. I will say
RTO, baby.
The one aspect of this that I guess like subconsciously picked up on, but didn't really connect the dots on totally, was written in by Dr. G to say that this is kind of showing, you know, the I don't know if it's old school methods, but like the more sort of fundamental methods of examining someone. You know, you could send them in for a CT and you can get all the fancy machinery involved, or you can just tap on a few of their tender spots and see how they react. You know, says everybody should be examined by a good physician before you go crazy with the tests.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, because that stuff is also the cheapest, right? You know, sometimes the magic
by
donut
far
reveals all, and that's what you need. But so a lot of people were predicting that this thing with Harlow is going to go south, that because she's taken so long to get care and whatnot, that she was going to have. I don't know if the show is built. I think sometimes the show just likes to show a little slice in the life of frustrations with the medical system and ask you to imagine yourself there. Like, you know, it's not necessarily that Orlando Diaz is going to go into diabetic crisis and die because he walked out of the ER. It's just more like, imagine if you're Orlando Diaz and, you know, you had good insurance and you had this thing well covered and you're doing everything that you right. And then COVID happens, you get laid off. The economy still hasn't gotten back on her feet for whatever sector you're in. You lose your insurance. You lose your access to primary care. You're trying to divide up your insulin shots. It's like, that sucks. Why does this man have to do this? He's working so hard. Imagine if he could work that hard and not have to worry about all this other shit. Or imagine if he dies next week. What's that going to do to the family? You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Financially, it might be the best thing for the family to happen because his medical debt would go with him. And you suddenly, maybe without the double incomes, they qualify for med. It's fucked up. So I think that's what the Harlow situation is like. It's fucked up. Mm-hmm. And what's really fucked up is I've heard, and I don't know for how long this will be, but I've heard America is one of the best countries in the world for making accommodations to people with disabilities. That like we are, you know, that some of that progressive legislation we did in the 60s and 70s and the ADA and stuff, like we are like, you go, and part of it's also we're a new country. It's a lot easier for us to be like, you gotta accommodate wheelchairs than like a 7th century fucking prison tower or whatever. Like that's a heavy lift.
Yeah. All of our streets are not cobblestone.
Yeah, exactly. And made all goat paths, but they don't even like, it's like sometimes saying things are hard is a way to throw up your hands and do nothing. And it seems like that's what a lot of the world has done. So even a country that has tried to be better towards disabled people, it fails them on a daily basis.
It does really feel like, especially what we'll see with Howard Knox here in a minute and his intubation and inability to speak and the system that they've got to communicate, despite his inability to speak, it seems like we could be doing something like that for people who can't hear, people who can't actually speak themselves. Like, could we use a system like this in a very constrained way, right? Like inside of a medical examination where you know there are going to be certain responses and certain questions that you're going to ask that have those responses. It feels like we could do something around that.
It's like, I think you're right. But on the other hand, it is an ADA issue. Like they do mandate that you have to have adequate translation for, involved.
Oh, yeah. But that's a law that was made. Laws change if we have other means to.
But how would you like
the spirit?
I don't see. Man, it's a slippery slope from, well, it's better than nothing to that's this new standard of care because why, and I don't know, like you got to speak and spell to talk to a doctor. Like that's fine if you're just, the doctors are treating you and you got a tube down your throat and they just need to know how much pain you're feeling or if you need to use the bathroom or something. But like if you're a deaf person, and again, a lot of deaf people do not speak English. I don't mean that they don't like mentally The syntax is different. The grammatical order is different. It's much more simplified. Imagine a lawsuit you'd get if you got the speak and spell out and the doctor thought they heard one thing and the person put the other. And
well, a system would probably be designed specifically for them. I'm not saying take exactly what they've got here and adapt it, but it shows what can be done when there's a need. It doesn't feel like it's being taken as seriously as it could.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Like, I'm not quite sure. It seems like some kind of visual translation software where a computer could watch someone signing. That's got to be way easier to parse and translate for a computer than like almost any other linguistic system in terms of pronunciation and accents and the spelling and all that. Like, you got a 1,000 glyph vocabulary, maybe several thousand. I don't know. I just think that's where I think the promise is just to have some kind of thing. It's a visual translator, just watches the hands and tells you in real time what it's saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe so. I don't know.
Anyway,
we'll see how that develops in the future.
But I want to talk a little bit. We're going to do our doctor drama roundup at the end, like we always do. But what did you think of Santos's bedside manner and demeanor in this episode?
I mean, it's better than it has been. The issue comes when her and Langdon are in a room, and I think like that's an exception. I don't want to knock her for that.
But it started with, because even she's been kind of shitty to Harlow. The entire experience. Mm-hmm. But even then, when she's finally got it, she's like, I feel like there's a little bit of brusque, or I don't know. I feel like 3 hours ago, someone unplugged her and she's slowly running out of juice. And I don't know what they're trying to tell us about that, or, maybe it is just 2-year burnout and she's bit off more than she can chew and all that. But like, there's something going on here. And like, especially after like all the bullshit that Harlow's been through to get a shot and some Mylanta, maybe a little bit of time to be, just instead of like, as soon as I've got it, and I bet I get it, it's a crisis. And, I'm radically accepting and loving Santos. So
sure.
I think it's awesome that she battled through her frustrations and gave her patient care and moved on to the next one. It's a struggle. It's a brave struggle she's fighting.
Yeah. There's some interesting stuff to talk about with her later in this episode. We'll get there.
The big part of the episode, I did not mean that as a slight on the man's size. The largest plot segment belongs to Howard Knox. He's a 15-year-old presenting with abdominal pain.
He's not 15. He can't be 15.
I'm sorry, 52. He's 52 years old, presenting with abdominal pain and fever. It's getting worse. And it seems like he needs an appendectomy, like he needs to get his appendix out, is what I think is happening here. But he is what they call morbidly obese. He's 475 pounds. Dr. Garcia said she's praying for a laparoscopic, like I forget, non-perforated appy, which is what they call a non-complicated appendix, that she can just stick a couple wires and tubes and pull it out. Because if they have to open him up, I did not know this, and I don't know what exactly causes it, but his mortality is 50%.
Yeah, that's
on an appendix removal,
which is not a super invasive operation.
But you got to think of like, how if someone is fat and skin layer is like 8 inches thick. I feel like sometimes it teaches us like okay, here's love. Last episode was about the crucialness of getting like fine internal suturing that you have to do on just a pretty uncomplicated wound. You got Donnie in there and he's doing the internal stitches and you do this, do that. How many layers of stitching do you have to stitch a guy back where his skin is like 8 inches thick? And I wonder if that's like a huge infection vector. I think fatty tissues are more vascular, so you could also have like a bleeding issue. And also just a poor health, like, the one of the problems with people that are that overweight, you're 450 pounds, your body is essentially pumping blood for 3 people, and God only designed us to do 1 for 75 years or so. So 52 years old, and he hasn't been heavy his whole life. Like, that's kind of that's the reason why Ogilvy's such an asshole, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have a somewhat nuanced take on Ogilvy this episode, but I really felt a lot of compassion for this guy because
me too.
Like, as more of his story unfolded, you can see how his life just spiraled out of his control. Like, he got into a freak accident, car wreck, ended up having to have a bunch of surgery on his legs, couldn't get out of bed and exercise.
Involved.
And like, it just got away from him. And now he's to the point where how do you recover? Because he can't really walk around. He says he would need a bench on every block to get any exercise. He would need professional help, and that's extremely expensive. And he's not working. Shows like
systematically, like, we don't live in walkable cities. Like, the fact that there's not a bench on every street corner is kind of wild, because it's accommodation for old people. Shoveling your snow off your sidewalks is important, and no one ever does it in Cincinnati because, like, people with wheelchairs and old people need to get through, and it's treacherous. And so it's like, like, everything about the society is like, it's not set to get you back on your feet. And then it's like, you know, unless you live in certain areas, you gotta go. It's all stacked up against him. And I'll go further. It's like, you know, he's sympathetic, sure, but I feel like anyone that is grossly overweight or overweight at all, like, no one is doing it on purpose, right? And unless you got like a feeding inflation fetish,
or you're on YouTube and getting paid to do it. Yeah. Other than that,
but I'm saying, like, no one is eating themselves to death because they're fine and healthy and they just fuck it. They just love the taste of food that much. It's always other issues. And I'm so glad that we're having some medicines now, like Wegovy, like Ozempic, that Ogilvy was talking about, that, you know, help people restore the back, because that's like, it's pretty amazing. But this guy especially, where, you know, and I saw it as soon as, like, they showed his legs, and there's all this, like, oh my God, that is a enormous reconstructive surgery he's been through.
Yep.
And sounds like he got caught on fire. Yeah, this guy, and his parents are dead. He doesn't have any friends. His sister lives in Arizona, and they don't speak. In fact, did you clock his face when Robbie is like, keep on the sister? It is when Whitaker came in and said, hey, I got cell phone service out in the ambulance bay. Tried calling his sister. I don't think he wants to see his sister.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder what's going on there.
I don't know. His reaction, maybe it could be shame, but it could also be he doesn't like his sister. Like, because I mean, people who get stuck in a cycle like this probably withdraw from people just in general, emotionally. Right. Like, they can't get out of the house, which forces them to kind of withdraw from community. But then there's also the mental element of it, the emotional part of it.
Yeah, imagine the last time your sister saw you, you kind of didn't have a good relationship anyway. You're like 250, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're so fat." And then, like, okay, I've gained twice that weight. There's all kinds of things that could be going into that. Now, I'm curious to see I'm curious to see what you think about Ogilvy, because, like, my big problem is not, like, the way he's got, like, diarrhea of the mouth, and he says, but, like, he's got this reflexive, judgy, shitty attitude about people presenting with medical problems that are at some point or in some way under the patient's control or self-inflicted or whatever. When, like, Ogilvy, I mean, I don't know. You're such a weird dude. I feel like in the old days, your parents would have left you on the hill to die. You know, like, we didn't really truck. You'd be in an insane asylum or something, because, you know, people don't want to deal with your shit. Like, have a little bit of compassion and sympathy.
So my diagnosis of Ogilvy is he might be a sociopath. Like, and I don't mean he's out there, like, when people use sociopath, they mean, like, oh, he's a guy who hates society and wants to tear it all down. No, he's like legitimately doesn't feel the weight of the things he says emotionally the way that most other people do. And so he says these things out of curiosity, and it's not in the same way that King does it, because King is way more compassionate. King has an abundance of compassion. He's just like, I'm curious about this thing. I want to know how he got this way. And so I'm asking a bunch of very offensive questions that I don't realize are super offensive.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm not a psychologist or something, but the thing, what bothers me, because you say if it was just honestly, the least offensive thing is when you said, "Are we going to take him to the zoo?" Because like I even knew that. I've heard stories where they had to, they got to cut somebody out of a thing because they weigh 800 pounds, and the only thing they could do is the hippo thing at the zoo, and like that's a curiosity or like a medical what are we going to go on a field trip?
Yeah,
couldn't get an IV. Oh, I wonder why. The way he treated that is. And I think it goes beyond sociopathy because that, and he's old enough that he's had enough friction in life that he should know. Because that's the other thing is like, if that's his problem, then you're either going to have to figure out some accommodation workaround, some way to get better on that and have some kind of, I don't know, crutch or tool that can help you with your disability. Or you can't be a doctor. You can't be a doctor that's like interfacing with people.
Maybe he needs to go into pathology with Joy.
With Joy, maybe they need to be the odd couple in pathology.
Hell yeah, I'd watch that show. Mm-hmm. Joy and Ogilvy, yes.
Joy is ramping. She is leaping up the popularity charts in the last 2 weeks, man. I
understand her so much better after these last 2 episodes. It's crazy. Yeah, we'll talk about her.
I didn't even think about the fact that like CT scans, and that's my first thought was he's 475. I'm like, okay, well, this is like when I went down to water slide at 265 and it said a max weight of 250. Like, come on, there's some wiggle room in the tubes, right? Yeah, there's some wiggle. But Robbie's like, man, this is a busy holiday weekend. Do we want to risk breaking the cat? Like, it might work, but like, do we want to do that? And so it's like.
He's 100% right. This is such a good call by a senior attending here. He knows the consequence of if this goes wrong, and it might be a 10% chance that it goes wrong, but that is way too high given the stakes.
Well, that's the other thing I think this show, and it doesn't do it like in a obvious, but like this show is kind of a reputation because there's, I think we're going the other way on some things in society, and we were going towards like radical fat acceptance where it's like healthy at any weight. And that was never like our literal thing. Like you could be healthy at any weight. It's more of like you can still have a healthy just because you're having struggles in this one issue doesn't mean that you can't, work on exercise, work on diet, work on other ways to stay otherwise healthy. And people are like, oh, you're just telling people it's OK to be fat. Like, I think this episode shows that like I've never met a person that's overweight that didn't know it and didn't feel like it's their fault. And they kind of feel bad about it. And this guy's being punished so much. He has to get intubated awake because he's too fat to lay down and breathe properly. Yeah. He is like with tears in his eyes, thanking them for making all these accommodations because he knows he's like this is just a miserable, torturous thing. Like, I don't think. That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody's fat because they just woke up one day. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to let it all go. I don't even care anymore. Give me 5 boxes of Twinkies. It's.
Man.
If they could do stuff. Yeah. Like, obviously, this guy, if he could have done anything different, he would have. And he tried.
Yeah.
And he had things working against him. It's just. But yeah, like, I've never. It's like people are like, oh, if you just called people fat and told them you're fat, you need to lose weight, fatty, we'd make a dent in the nation's waistline. And that's just not.
Maybe you can guilt and shame people into doing it. And then you can have a crisis of mental health because they keep that residual image as they get skinnier and say, I'm a piece of shit. I'm worthless.
Yeah.
No, that's not a way to solve anything. You need to support people, not shame them.
I don't know. Because like, it's like, that's like, well-known, accepted, scientific, but like people don't, people are rejecting vaccines. So where you're gonna go with the psychological evidence that actually shaming and guilting people is not an effective change of their behavior. You're gonna believe that shit when you won't take a vaccine? I don't think so.
Yeah. But there's some cool stuff in here. Technically, I mean, I think scopes just as a concept are amazing. Like a camera on a long optical cable that can reach places that no human eye could. It's kind of cool.
I'm assuming those are real scope shots, not of this patient, but like when you're going through there and you can see his what do they call it?
Yeah.
What is that? The structure where your trachea splits?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Something deviation.
The carina. That was really freaky. Like I almost never think about the way I'm constructed on the inside until you see it, and it's like, oh yeah, the trachea. I guess it is like cartilage. It's not like the esophagus, which is more. It's just really rigid air tube.
Yeah, you can kind of feel it, right?
You can, right? Oh, grab your Adam's apple there and give it a squeeze. But I thought that was cool, and like again, the fact you can do that to someone in a wake, and like when Dr. Hot Body G.I. Joe Hobbs, Osborne, what's his name? No. The SWAT dog.
Hot Body.
Abbott.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Let me try it again, Max. Like when Dr. Abbott said, "Okay," and this is like. First of all, I imagine there's a lot of people fantasizing about him going to a glove and be like, I'm going to start with this little finger and I'm going to get into
Oh, Jesus.
But if that's not, if he's not going to your nasal cavity, maybe. But like when he got up there and it's like, hey, I'm going to take my pinky and I'm going to work it slowly and I'm going to get all the way into my fist knuckle. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible. They're spraying his vocal cords with light. Nothing about that looked pleasant at all.
No, and I'm one of those people who like that pressure and like pulling or pushing sensation, even if I'm numbed up, it squicks me out when they're doing
just knowing what they're doing to you.
Yes. Yeah, it's that really. So those scenes, man, I'm glad they didn't actually show like with some prosthetic or fake, like him jamming his pinky in. Cause there was a time where I had to look away from this episode and we'll talk about that, but this was not one, luckily.
Oh, I bet I can guess because
I bet
you're getting me too, man. I'm not even that squeamish, but there's been I find I have to look away at least once an episode this season.
I wanted to bring up something Dr. G said about this nasal intubation. He says it's a great skill to have, but we need to do it without the toys. Just shove into the nose and have them suck it in. I'm sure that's a lost skill.
Snort the tube. What's this guy's name? Snort the tube. Fatty. Howie. Snort the tube.
Here's the thing that this show is doing. This show is traumatizing me around my vocal cords. I feel after watching this show that the vocal cords are the most brittle, like sensitive bit of my body because they always say, watch the vocal cords when they're intubating.
Yeah.
You're just shoving tubes in there willy-nilly with no scope.
Can I say that so I thought that too. And I'm not going to tell you that the vocal cords are like titanium structures, especially since they're our moneymaker, okay?
Sure.
Baby your vocal cords, Jim. I think what they say that is like a standard of care to make sure that you're in the airway and not the esophagus. Because the esophagus does not have vocal cords. So if you see vocal cords, that is the visual confirmation you're in the right tube and you can start administering air that's going to go to the right place and not inflate their stomach and kill them.
Gotcha.
Now, I'm not saying that they would take like a toilet bowl brush and just like jab it up and down through there. But like I think an aquarium tube can go through a couple times.
What about Ogilvy's exceptionally long pinkies? Can we get those down there?
Yeah. He just a whole. I want the law skill is the whole arm intubation where you just grab that tube in your fist and you just start pushing. Just start pushing. They also had this big crane thing. I forget what I was trying to make a note of, and I noticed this now that I'm covering this professionally. Like a lot of times they'll drop this sick terminology on you, and you can look it up. But if you just pay attention to the rest of the episode, they usually introduce it, and if you pay attention, you know, like, oh, that's the FOP. Ah, okay, it's the
right.
But he asked for the Hoyer. He's like, well, you're going to need a Hoyer in here. What the fuck is a Hoyer? It's that lift that crane, they weighed him on. Anything else? Oh yeah, they wanted to. They had to go up to a different floor to get this speak and spell medical. It's called a Vita Talk, I guess. And, Ogilvy's like, oh, why don't we have one in the ER? And she's like, well, it's because when we intubate patients, we put them under. Like, this is an exception. That was kind of cool. And, the other thing is, like, I just thought, like, how nice these doctors are. Like, they're talking about, hey, I soaked this tube in warm water, so it'll be more comfortable for you. It'll be more flexible. And like every time I hear about a woman that goes into like a gynecologist or like an obstetrician, and they say about like the worst part is being squirted that cold petroleum jelly or having this cold steel. Why isn't that standard of care? Why isn't warm lube and like body temperature metal and like soft tubes? What?
Yeah, just get like one of those USB cup warmers and just place the lube right on there a minute or two before. Yeah, keep a Yeti full of hot water that you got tube soaking. I don't know. I'm just saying like that I got that is that these are very good doctors, been doing this a long time and know the tips and tricks. Mm-hmm. But it's not like you might go to some place and they're just going to jab a cold tube down you with ice cold petroleum jelly or whatever, surgical lube. Yeah, I mean, the fact that they can do that in the ER means that a lot more places could probably do it, because time is of the essence there, and they're still doing it.
They also mentioned, so this is another thing you pay attention to. They also mentioned that, like, are they going to take him intubated? Because, I guess there's different things that you can transport, can't transport. And Dr. Abbott says, well, they will if I go with him, which is cool because he needs to catch up on sleep, whatever. But that means bare minimum, he's going to be gone for the next episode or two.
Yeah.
Right? Gotta
be.
And he's a badass. He wasn't supposed to be there. He came there. Like, they're taking one of their strongest horses out of the stable is what I'm saying. Next one on my notes is Roxy Hamler. Mm-hmm. She is the home hospice terminal cancer patient with the very sad husband, very sad children. She's joined by very sad parents. This is a very sad story. What do you think of it, Jim?
Yeah, it just keeps getting... I want to say it keeps getting more obvious what she's trying to do here. Yeah. Especially this episode. I mean, Robbie all but says it. Like, hey, guys, she might be trying to end her life with this pain medication, and I think we should let her because that seems the most merciful outcome here. All parties. To the extent that it took me a bit out of the episode because I don't think the attending would have to explain, like, even if they haven't heard the dual action, like, ethical, like, I have had the misfortune in my life to see 7 or 8 people die of either old age or advanced cancer or something. And every single one of them has gone. They did not die of the thing. They died of essentially painkillers depressing their central nervous system, their breathing, their heart rate until they die of that. Yeah. And it's like, I used to be big on, I used to be a big believer in like euthanasia. It's like, I've seen people die horribly. Like, if you want to opt out of late stage cancer or wasting disease or something, why not? But ever since I've been aware of this, like, I haven't worried about it because almost any place you go is going to do, like, yeah, if you're feeling pain, they will make you not feel pain until you're dead. And like what Noah said that about, like, sometimes that's the optimal medical outcome is death. Yeah. Like, other than preserving a life that is over and it's just going to be nothing but pain and misery and loss of dignity. That's powerful stuff. Yeah, for sure. I have my thresholds for that. Absolutely. And I don't blame anybody else for having them. It feels natural, honestly, but I don't know. What really got me is the little boy when his grandparents get there and, they mention ice cream and he's immediately excited. And then the older kid who's like 13 or 14, he knows. Yeah. He knows that it's like, I think he knows maybe more than his dad does that his mom's getting close and he doesn't want to leave. Yeah. And I thought also, because I thought it was interesting when her parents came in and they're like, hey kid, yeah, you're a fight. You're going to beat this. And she gives him this kind of like wan smile. I'm like, man, is that been her life in a nutshell? Just everybody's like, oh, you're such a fighter. Oh, you're being so brave. You're doing like, at the end, at some point at the end, you got to switch into, you've run a good race,
You fought as hard as you can.
Right.
There's no wrong answers here. What? And I felt like at the very end, there was a look between her and her dad where at least like her dad knows now.
Yeah.
If nobody else is caught up, that she's not leaving this hospital. At least I don't think she is.
Yeah, I can't tell exactly what he means when he says you got this. Because you got this could mean
it could.
You're on your way out and you can handle it. You'd be strong as you go. It's tough to say without too much context of this relationship.
I see how her husband and the rest. It's like I feel like they're kind of all collectively in denial.
Yes,
because
that is true.
That's the other crazy thing is I've had two different friends be told they're like have 6 months to live, and for like the first for the first couple months, like they're the same person. Like, how can they be dying? How can they be dying?
Yeah.
And say, but it's like, and also mentally understanding like, okay, yeah, she's got 6 months to live is different than emotionally dealing with it, especially if you haven't this entire time been dealing with it and you've just been head down, helping her out, trying to do this, trying to do that. It's really sad. And the kids are what brought it home for me this episode, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sad when they're like, "Can she have ice cream?" And was it Dr. J or was it Dr. McKay? It's like she can. It reminded me of like the last day when you take a pet.
Yeah,
they're going to have. It's like you can have all the chocolate and people food and grapes you want today, buddy, because it doesn't matter. It's like that. They kind of the same. She can have whatever she wants, including a perhaps lethal drip of morphine.
Probably. I don't expect her to be around too many more episodes. Maybe a couple.
Next, we have Brooke, a middle-aged woman presenting with sudden onset blindness.
Yeah, this one's interesting. I learned some stuff here. I learned about eye strokes, where you basically get a clot somewhere along the blood supply there to your retina, and it cuts it off and cuts off your vision with it. And what thrombolytics are, sure, basically medication that's designed to declot that clot, to break it up. And I learned how deadly it can be. Which honestly, like I'll say, based on what the show told me, didn't seem like much of a risk. 2% to get worse, which you already can't see a light being shined right in your face. So what does worse mean? And 1% to die, a 1% chance to die versus restoring a good chunk of your eyesight. I'd probably take it.
I'd probably take it too, but I was thinking the whole time of like when she's giving her these percentages, like humans are famously incapable of dealing with odds. Like I read this, or I heard the study. It's like essentially people can conceive of like 3 states: a sure thing, an impossibility, and like 50-50. You try to tell someone you got a 25 that like you really can't and you got the gamblers. Because I'm like, okay, if I had a choice between going blind and dying, I would probably go blind. Yeah, I don't know if because I think you said something. Are you
talking
like
to the sure thing state? No, I would definitely go blind. Yeah.
Okay. If you say that you might go blind, but we have this chip, but it's got a 1% chance, it's like, how would you feel if you rolled that D100 and you came up snake eyes? Like,
I wouldn't care.
It's a small chance, but that's a very real chance.
Like, that's the thing. Like the 1% chance to me, if it happens, I'm dead and I'm not there to realize I fucked up. So like, what does it matter? Now, if it's like a 50% chance or even a 20% chance, I'm starting to think I value living over my eyesight more. Because then it becomes, just like a coin flip. I'm in that 50-50 state.
I know. And, but I was like, when she's telling him like, well, 20% and then it proves that this percent, she's got all this, but it's like, you could tell that lady has like, she's just like, okay, well, I don't want to go blind. I don't want to die, but that's like a 1%. And the other thing is, eye problems are tricky. I know a bit about this because when I was in my mid-20s, I had a partially detached retina. I was driving home and I asked my wife, I was like, are there fireworks shooting over there? She's like, what are you talking about? I kept on in the corner of my eye seeing what looked exactly like fireworks going off. And didn't think much of it, but I had an uncle who was an ophthalmologist, and it wasn't too late. So I just called, hey, Uncle Clay, he's like, stop what you're doing right now and go to the emergency room. And I'm like, and he told me things to watch out for. There's like, it's like but anyway, the thing about eyes is there is another like a blood-brain barrier. It's extraordinarily hard to get medicine into the eye. So like I was seeing some ophthalmologists. I think those are the full MDs talking about like a lot of them are on call emergency rooms. But like if they don't get to like an eye infection within 3 to 4 hours, the bacteria is going to be so out of control inside that eye that the person's just going to lose their eye. So, and it's like this woman, you lose oxygen to your retina, and like how long does it take for your brain to die? It's not that long. Like they're not even talking about restoring her vision. They're talking about saving what might remain. Eyes are terrifying, man. And you got
eyes are terrifying.
Such a small window when things go wrong. If something's going really wrong, got such a small window, and it never presents like, oh God, you're about to go blind. There's not blinding pain. It's just it's happening. Like my uncle said that a fully detached retina looks like you'll start seeing like a dark or a gray. It looks like a sheet and rolling over your vision, and that's literally your retina rolling off the back and losing the ability to. It's like. So I was lucky. I got it before it fully detached, and they're able to staple it down with a laser gun.
Nice.
But
that's
I was thinking about this the entire time, how lucky I was that I called my uncle and didn't go to sleep and wake up blind.
Yikes. Yeah. I'll take the eye problems more seriously for sure. Cause like, I was surprised by how fast it happens. They jumped her in the line for CT scans too, which is crazy.
Just like the kid last year with the baseball in his eye. That seems like not a big deal. But then as soon as they saw it, it's like, oh shit. Cause like, yeah, you got such a small window of time before those tissues die and they don't come back.
Yeah.
Cause that's the thing. Your retina and your optic nerve are literally extensions of your brain. And that shit, once it's gone, you can't, it can't grow back. It's like trying to grow back brain cells or something. It just doesn't work.
Do they do eye transplants? Is that a thing? I don't even know.
I know they do corneal transplants. Full on, I can't imagine that would work. That would be just slightly less complicated than a brain transplant.
Optical nerve seems really impossible.
Yeah.
Difficult to impossible.
Yeah. And you got someone else's eye that's I would love to hear otherwise, doctors, but.
Oh, they made a movie about this, Minority Report. I forgot. As long as the spider bots don't get to you, you're fine. She gave
them to me. Yeah. Got to hide in the ice tub. So we talked about this also, that like this is kind of a risky thing because that's the thing about the clot busters. Like your body, like the universe itself, it's a finely tuned instrument. If gravity was a little bit stronger, then everything would be black holes. If it was a little bit weaker, nothing would have turned into stars, and we'd be stuck with helium and hydrogen for the entire existence of the universe. Your blood, it's like you want it to form clots. You don't want like minor internal bleeds that happen to you every day to turn into life-threatening events, but you don't want it to clot too much because then the blood no flow. So changing that balance is always going to be a risk of internal bleeding, of I think that's the risk, is like you could have an internal bleed that'd be completely silent and invisible, and you're too far gone before they figure it out and can get you operated on. So
yeah, and the specific problem Dr. G wrote in with some information about this too is not so much like the death numbers on the eye, which they quoted at 2%, but he's saying he's seen a lot of patients, or not a lot, several is his words, patients killed with these thrombolytics. And it causes like brain bleeding, which is what does it. And then that's like 5% chance. 5% chance is now where I'm like, okay, how much do I really want to see out of one eye?
Yeah, I was taking it like it was going to be a complication of their eyes. Like it's a holistic thing. Your body is less able to defend against bleeding.
Yeah.
So. But it's always a trade-off when you're dealing with medical interventions. You Got to think of the whole body. Anything else to talk about with Brooke here?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Jackson Davis, we got a brief update with his family. He's the law student, got tased in the back of the neck. He wasn't on drugs, but it does seem like he's having a psychiatric event, and his parents are having a hard time dealing with it.
Yeah, and I like them bringing in Nicole here because, unlike the psychologist, therapist, whatever the man who's been interfacing with them is, she's gone through it. She's lived it.
Yeah.
And that has such weight, right? Like coming in and telling these people, this is not the end of your son's life. It's just a different version of him. I felt like was really powerful. For
it shows like I was going with this with Dr. J, like she's being very understanding and she's saying all the right things, but she's also a wet behind the ears 20-year-old and
you're
looks like just screams it. I thought her looking at this lady, because she was almost like to the skull, like, well, you can hope that your son is going to have a happy life. And the parents are just like, the fuck is, But then as soon as they start talking about, and I thought it was nice, it's like such a one-on-one. Like, this is a gifted kid. He was going to law school. He wanted to become a civil rights lawyer. This was a gal who was going to Georgetown for architecture, very capable, and these mental illnesses sideline him. And now she's employee of the month, but at a grocery store, she's bagging groceries or whatever, cashier. And that's got to be so hard for a parent to hear. It's, it's like, because on the one hand, it's like your kid dies. Everyone knows what that's like. And if your kid's fine and successful, we know. But like, if your kid is just like got a mental problem where they're gonna have a lifelong struggle to keep medicated and keep even keeled, and even with that, only 20% are able to have successful this or that and the other. That's got to be hard to hear as a parent.
And I can just imagine that life, right? Like you had all these expectations or hopes for your kid. And then it's sad on one hand that they're not going to be able to live up to those hopes. Even if you're not putting pressure on them or didn't have expectations, but then they're probably going to need to interact with you in a certain way, which is going to require things of you, which you might eventually come to resent, which then you feel guilt for that. Like it's so much more complex and difficult to deal with than if your child is dead. It's a different thing. I'm not saying one is harder than the other. It's just so different. And I feel like someone who has had a child die could not come in here and as effectively do what she does for this family.
That's what I was trying to get at. That it's like you're in this weird in between where it's like you can't go to a parent's grief support for your kid dying, but there's probably not as much of this and not as much helping parents. There's just a lot going into it, and just to what she said is, and I think this is the shift you got to get into, is that your life is going to change. Yeah, but there's still going to be laughter. There's still going to be love. They're going to be, this is they're on a different life path now, but it's not that it can be all miserable, and that's what you got. Because, I guess that's, as I gotten older, it's like life is always going to change. The second you get to a point where life is perfect, I hope it stays this way, you'll get a bad medical test, or you'll lose your job, or a war will start, or it's life's all about change. And as much as you can embrace it and keep a positive attitude and keep that love and empathy up, it's better. But it's got to be so hard for your parents just to process, because they go through, they're going through grief. There's denial, there's anger, and there's bargaining and what if over a kid that's still alive, so I thought this was really interesting, and another thing that really shows where a hospital is not just a bunch of doctors and medical practitioners. There's social workers, there's psychologists, there's these patient advocates, like the rape advocate last episode. We got the children's psychology advocate, and it's all important. It would all be a worse place if those people all weren't working together. And this one's probably volunteering too. So something she just does out of kindness of her heart.
Could be, yeah.
I don't think they have a paid position of mothers that can come in and talk to her. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
So yeah, no update on the sister. How? Because you gotta get them all on the same page at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's time to talk about Ilana. She is the person that came in, the sexual assault survivor. Dana and Anna were helping her get collect the specimens she need to fill out this rape kit, so that if she chooses, she could pursue some sort of justice for this. And I'm glad I mentioned this about, like you have these heartbreaking stories where all these women, they do all this brave stuff, all this and then you hear them about like spoiling on shelves.
Yeah.
And when she opened a box and she opened the fridge and there was already a box there, I fucking knew. And her biblical wrath was very satisfying on it too.
Very, very, very. Yeah. Like Dana being back in action. And the first thing she does is give an earful to the cops who've fucked this up colossally.
Yeah. You want us to take you to the head of the line every single time you come in here being shot, whatever, then the least you can do is have a fucking detective stop by within 72 hours.
Yep.
Seems like it. And, and again, it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you shouldn't need incentives like that. But like, that's like, I do not understand why police departments would ever do anything than their very best for whatever medical emergency department is in their community, because
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. On your worst day, you might need them. So
yeah, they rely on each other quite a bit. This was really gratifying for me in a couple of ways. I'm very glad she did come back and finish this exam. I was worried that was not going to happen. And then the thank you, this is what I mean. Like, this is one of the big moments in the episode for me. The thank you she gets. I'm glad you were here today, which if we've been following Dana's story, she almost wasn't. She thought about not being here. And what would that have meant for Ilana?
And that goes, you can see it go through her head. Like, and she says, yeah, I'm glad to. And that's the other instance of this, that's what probably gets medical professionals by. Like, every once in a while they get a patient just grateful and recognizes what they did and how amazing it is. And I loved Anna saying that she's brave, because that's another, like, again, compliment people. She is doing something that's super brave, and it's so invasive. You got to the vaginal part of the exam, and then it's like, after that's over, it's like, now we got to talk about STI protection, because you might still be victimized in the future by this incident if this guy's got some kind of communicable disease. And you can see her like start to process that, like, oh God, morning after kit. Oh God, AIDS prevention. Oh God. It's just like, it's just a and then again, find a rape kit that she did there two weeks ago, still there in the fridge.
Which I don't know. I have hope that both of these are going to get picked up very shortly after Dana's.
I wonder when it's too late though, because like,
I don't know.
I've only heard kits, like rape kits, like in this is like sitting on evidence locker shelves, probably unrefrigerated for like months or years. I do, because like it. I mean, these are all biological things that you're trying to preserve that start breaking down in the presence of air and sunlight right away. Like, after, I'm sure there's that 72 hours is probably not there just for like, well, we want them to have it take it somewhat important. It's probably got some kind of evidentiary or scientific medical reason behind it. So I hope we can get that other, because like the last thing, can you imagine Ilana Ilana wants to press charges. She's gone through all this. And then she hears from the prosecutor that, your rape kit expired.
Yeah, I was worried something was like wrong with the fridge. And this whole procedure had been for nothing. Because, that is
that would be worse enough as just equipment failure. But holy shit. Anyway, let us move on to Jackie. Her friends call her CK, and she comes in there with her friend Jackie with a Q, and she's presenting with a severe tongue laceration from a bar-related selfie-induced injury.
Yeah, selfies are dangerous, kids. Watch out.
Okay. maybe now, because like this is a nothing patient, you know, she's blackout drunk, she's young, she's heading down a path of alcoholism. I think it's interesting to see this person walk through the door after we just saw Louis leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some on the nose things you could say here with Dr. Langdon, but why is okay. I am radically loving and accepting Santos, and I can see that if your first work experience with Dr. Langdon was him trying to defensively cast doubt on your career and capabilities so that he could keep doing drugs, that you would have some personal animus and you'd be angry at him.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, at some point, doesn't she have to like understand that he was an addict? That wasn't the Dr. Langdon she was dealing with. That was the drug. Like, she's been through enough trauma. Did you think she'd been like, maybe it's like knowing better doesn't mean you always do better. But like just how like she's being openly disrespectful, which is not like, that's not even good chain of command. And you can see the Joy's clocking it. Like it's not good, but also Robbie's setting the example on top. So what do you think?
That's the thing. So it gets complicated. Sarah actually wrote in to talk about like Robbie's, let's say, the not quite acceptance of Langdon's apology. To say that, you know, it's complicated and you could be a little bit wary that like, you know, this is not going to stick. You have to kind of see it in action before you can really internalize an apology like this. So
for sure.
I get that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
And that's something they prepared Langdon for in the program, right? He was like, he knew, like,
you would hope.
Hey, not everyone's going to want to hear that. It's not about you. It's about, So
for sure. Santos, I wonder if there's something in her background that makes her just immediately flip a switch on people who have addictions. If maybe her parents or someone in her life had hurt her with that already.
Yeah, she's had a lot of pain in her life. You know, I think it's just like we're talking about people who are overweight don't get that way because they just wake up one day. Like, she didn't start slicing up her thigh because she's like, you know, I think this would be a cool fucking scar pattern. She's transmuting emotional and spiritual pain into physical pain as a release.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, she's a hurt person. Hurt people. I do wonder if there's a little bit that they're dealing because that's the first thing I thought of when you get a pharmacist down there that's guarding the locked safe and they're unlocking it and there's no more like, it's like, boy, it'd be the day to steal some heroin if you wanted to do it.
For sure. I wonder if they're going to play with that. They're going to make this a temptation for Langdon or potentially a thing for Robbie to keep his eye on and be even more suspicious. I don't know.
Would your first reaction to me floating this be that this is totally stupid, or is this a legit plot line? Because I just like, as I said, it's like this. It seemed like something just like almost physically happened to Santos like 3 or 4 hours ago, and I don't think it's fully explained by Dr. Al hard selling her AI software to her. Is it possible that she is maybe dipping into the company ink for pain relievers and stuff? And would that, I thought that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, man, that seems like a hack thing to do, to just like Uno reverse it. Oh, but like, is it as stupid as it feels to me?
Maybe it wouldn't feel very good to me, I would say. I like it better if it's something that she has had to deal with herself and she is like angry at him for sort of bringing this back into her life. I don't know. It's a little too like samey. I would want something a little more complicated in my story.
And I think a lot of this stuff was defensible until you get to the very end where Joy's like, do we order a blood alcohol level? And Langdon's like, nah, we're just going to, you know, like, it's not going to change how we treat her medically. So, and then Santos like, I already did it. You want to wager on how drunk she was? Mm-hmm. And even Joy's kind of like, I don't know. I was like, she's kind of weird. And she's like, oh, no, it's fun. And she pointedly looks at, and they talk about rehab. Oh, maybe. I felt like that is just, that's being shitty, man. Like in front of the new kid.
Yep.
But again, I love Santos so much. I want to see her do so much better. I know she's capable of better. I know she wants to do better. She needs more time.
I wanted to bring to our attention something that Dr. T wrote in with in relation to CK here. I guess one of the worst things you can do, at least that's the picture he's painting for me, is work on a tongue as a doctor. Because he says there is literally nothing worse than trying to suture a tongue. It's like holding down a feral cat and trying to braid its hair.
I bet.
Seeing Santos inject this while holding it with 2 fingers was even more laughable than lawyers working on July 4th weekend. Like they have special, he calls them young forceps. I guess it's the name for them, which have like rubberized grippers, rubberized jaws.
And a whole, like, that's what the piercers use to pierce people's tongues. They grab it and they pull. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They have the rubberized ones, the young ones. And he says those are a trap. Those are no good because inevitably they will come loose. They're just not tough enough. You have to get the ones with the most tessellated grips you can find and grab that fucker. And you still won't. It still won't be enough.
Well, that's what's funny is because we talk about, like, you know, you can't really treat a person like a person. You can't treat a person like a piece of meat. This is one of the rare exceptions where, like, the standard of care is wild. Like, the standard of care is like, pierce the tongue with some rope and pull it tight so you can yank it out of their mouth, because fuck your forceps, fuck your Young's grips. Like, we're gonna lasso this fucker. That's wild. That's like in 2021, that is the best way to do it. We don't have a tractor beam or some kind of retractor or purpose-built tongue depressor. What it's just you just impale it and yank and pull it out of there like a fucking great white you're trying to fish out of the ocean.
Yeah, he said that wouldn't even work. Like the silk suture through the tongue thing sounds like a good idea, but it's just too hard to control.
I wonder, like, I wonder if they got away with some stuff because she was passed out, because that's clearly.
Well, he says even people who are under. Let me look at this. Even a sedated patient. Their tongues just are always, because your tongue's always. Yeah, you pay attention to your tongue; it's always moving around in your mouth. Yeah. Oh, he says it jumps around like a crack-addled amphibian. So, and he talks about the suturing.
They're turning like the hooked needles.
Yeah, man, he paints a picture in this email that makes me never want to try and work on a tongue.
You know what? I'm going to try to. I got in 49 years. I think I can go 49 more without suturing a tongue. We'll see.
I hope so. For your sake.
That puts us to. I did love the gals, the self-observed drunk gals, like completely fangirling over Dr. Langdon's. Like, oh my God, your doctor's so hot. Don't argue with the doctor, CK.
Mm-hmm. Could have been either him or Abbott, one of the two.
Who's the unattractive doctor? Oh, I guess Ogilvy. But he's with a little bit of product and a personality transplant. He's got good bone structure. He's tall. Whitaker's hot because he's kind. He rolls up his sleeve, kills rats, helping this farm girl. Dr. Robbie can just straight get it. Langdon can straight get it. All these doctors are.
Yep. Donnie lays off machines. Donuts for, a few shifts and he can get it.
Oh, Donnie's got he's going into his dad bod era. He can get it.
Sure.
Toby Sullivan. This is a man who came in presenting rapid onset severe blistering rash. And is this the thing that made you look away from the camera, Jim, or look away from the TV, Jim?
No, I forgot to mention it was the tongue. Definitely. This one was close.
Oh.
But this one is like new fear unlocked, man. I had no idea that squeezing a couple limes and standing in the sun could do this to some people.
I'm frightened too. I think the only thing we can do is squeeze some limes together on your back porch this weekend. We gotta find out. Got to find out before margarita season if this is even a hint.
It's good to know.
Because I was with Ogilvy and like Joy's like, do we need to get this into some kind of bubble boy tint? Is this Ebola? Is this kind of like, do we need to contain this? And like, what could it possibly be? And Joy just bopping up and be like, it's cyto photo, It's live. Joy has been racking up dubs these last few episodes. And Ogilvy just keeps taking big L's.
But yeah, when he said it started last night, I'm like, oh my God, that has progressed rapidly.
Yeah. And it's like way worse than the lady that is going to lose a leg at bare minimum. Like, I'm like, oh, you're dead, dude. You're not walking out of here. But apparently this is a very minor. It's just I guess it's like a super sunburn. And
yeah,
I knew this because I was told by doctors that if you like take certain antibiotics, it like permanently weakens your ability to melanate. Not permanently, temporarily for like weeks to months. And like they usually tell you, but like you got to stay out of the sun. You got to use sunscreen because you're just super. I don't know what it is about the limes that does this. And it's not just limes, apparently. It can be caused. Did you see any of the other causes?
No, I actually didn't look this up. I'm curious though.
It's caused by UVA activating plant chemicals, which is, I don't know, furocomarins on the skin. And it can be caused by limes, celery, figs, and parsley.
What the hell?
I can't think of things more like a lime and a celery, as far as I can tell, have nothing in common.
Yeah.
Figs and parsley?
Nope. Nothing in common.
That's crazy.
If a doctor told me you are very allergic to limes and sunlight, don't do this, I would feel perfectly fine squeezing figs on my legs and laying out for a tan. Right?
Yeah. Like, okay, well, all right. Well, no more of that. You know what? I got a birthday party. It's a nice day. I'm going to make some ants on a log for little Timmy. Going up there, cutting up the celery. It happens again. You tuck it into a sleeve of Fig Newtons, boom, you're never safe. But some of these other things, what they're mentioning, these diseases are like terrible because they're all like autoimmune diseases that target the ability of your skin cells to stay together.
Ugh.
And some of them attack certain layers, like it'll leave your outer layer intact, but it dissolves the middle layer of skin. And that's when he's saying we got to do the whatever sign.
Nikolsky sign.
The Nikolsky sign, that's literally you take the skin and you rub it laterally, like you try to move it against itself. And if that top layer separates, that's a positive sign that you've got one of these crazy things. And
I just tried it.
Like Ogie says, some of them can be, but that's the other, I guess, the really scary thing is when you got an autoimmune, your body starts attacking itself.
Oh, yeah.
Your body, which is an apex murderer of microorganisms, and you are just a collection of microorganisms working together.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. It's bad. And what are you going to do? Turn it off? Oh, great. You don't have an immune system anymore. Jesus. Poor Toby.
Yeah.
Now, our favorite segment, at least mine, Doctor Drama. This is why, screw your baby Jane Does, your cancer patients, your morbidly obese, nice people. We want to know who's fucking, who's going crazy.
It should be honorarily named
crippling debt.
It should be honorarily named the Princess and Perla Doctor Drama section. And maybe we do I don't know, Tagalog or something.
I feel like that princess experienced 16 ER shifts worth of stress and drama in about 35 minutes.
Yep.
Because stepping into Dana's shoes is a lot.
On a good day.
On a good day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in analog.
But so something we found is Dr. Joy Kwan has photographic memory.
I love this. This explains so much.
Yeah, tell me, because like I didn't see it as explanatory. I thought it of like, oh, well, this is cool. First of all, like I thought photographic memory doesn't exist. I guess it doesn't. It's called like eidetic memory, and it's not how people can people like, oh, you look at a book of text and you can recall it a year later. Like this is like you get a very sharp, well-defined images of something you've seen, but they like a reverse Polaroid. They fade within minutes and hours. Like it's not like next week Joy could sit down there and do this board. At least that's my understanding of it. I understand that like real photographic memory just doesn't exist.
But what do you think?
Later, what is the revelation aspect of it?
Well, it's a combination of I guess it's why she's so disinterested in a lot of the more rudimentary things, like suturing people. And I know like that comes also from her desire to become a pathologist. But I think like that has to be, it's such a superpower to have this ability that it has to make a lot of things a little bit less interesting. Because like if you miss anything, you could kind of just look back in your head and, oh yeah, no, it's there. But B, I just think like interacting with people who don't have that kind of memory, well, like, you know, the super intelligence that you see in like comic books and things like that, it always makes everything else seem just so dull by comparison.
Yes.
So yes. I kind of get her a little bit more, and combined with the pathology stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, no, your personality, your affect makes total sense.
Because again, I was going into like I think photographic memory is a thing. I don't know if the writers know that it's not a thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Because like if it was real and she could literally memorize all these textbook terms by looking at it, and she's been essentially, you know, not wanting to brag or not wanting to be look like an Ogilvy, I can see how this is a lot. But like I don't think it does work that way. I don't think she can instantly remember that stuff. Or at least not over the long haul. But I don't know if the writers know that either. They're usually pretty medically careful. But yeah,
because in this episode, she clearly does remember in perfect detail all of the cases within 2 minutes later.
This is within the very rare case of adults having this eidetic. I think it's how I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Which is not photographed. It's that vivid image that nevertheless fades quickly over the course of minutes, hours, or sometimes days. But so I don't know. But
that's awesome.
I do like that she's just good. Yeah, she without being a gunner like Dr. J and Ogilvy, she's just genuinely good at her job. And maybe like especially with pathologies, like maybe she's even better. Like differential diagnosis and seeing through the zebra and unicorn diagnoses for like, oh no, it's. I guess you can't call it Lyme's disease because that's already taken by the deer ticks. I almost like you got this Lyme disease. Like, no, that's something different.
Margarita
they should have called
disease.
That. See, they should have called this Lyme's disease, and the ticks could have had a margarita disease because.
There you go.
Why not?
I imagine this would make her a much faster diagnosing pathologist, though. Like if she can remember things much better than the average person, she wouldn't have to look at as many charts in order to. See what this patient had exactly. Yeah. And
I think day to day would have a massive impact in your life. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Make charting so much easier. I did also so we're in a doctor drama. You had Robbie. He has this. First of all, he's pissed. You know, we're dealing with the fact that Dr. Al kind of sabotaged him. And she's like, well, I was on. It seems like she came down with the department guy. So it's like I think Robbie's being a little bit of a fuss bucket here, but whatever. But like when he says Princess has some charge nurse experience and you could see her eyes get really wide, like, is there another princess here? I just thought that was so funny to be like, oh, you're getting this big step up and also it's in the worst circumstances possible for you.
Yeah.
Again, this is a petty thing. They start Joy writing stuff down and Dr. Al's writing it down for her. And I'm like, okay. But they come back and Dr. Al, the attending, is still taking dictation from Joy. And she has to go and she eventually just hands the pen to Joy. And I'm like, shouldn't you have done this 10 minutes ago? Are you lollygagging? I'm writing Joy's stuff down. Like, come on.
Maybe the last one she wrote down was the baby and she just remembered, oh yeah, there's that baby over there. I gotta
go check on her.
Stress out about.
The thing is, it's like, man, you see these manual processes are just so fraught with error. Like they're just writing patients in this blank spot above the chart and leaving doctors to erase it and write it down and properly code everything. They're coming up with on the fly abbreviations for things because you got to also respect HIPAA, even though this is all going on.
That's the thing, man. Like all the medical stuff you need to be thinking about when you're in the flow, and then to stack on top of that a whole bunch of logistical procedural stuff, like that is mostly automated nowadays, I imagine. Like you don't have to write your initial on a board to say I've taken a case or whatever. You just like, I assume the charge nurse just assigns it to you, hits a button, and it does all of that.
Yeah, like one of my last jobs before getting this bullshit job was writing medical software that would automatically talk to the automated systems to read like patient vitals and the different readings and stuff. And like, I guess like something like 56% or 57% of the cath lab paperwork was done by a machine that just copied it all over. And imagine if you have to start writing that stuff down. And, you know, but it's also funny because like they make this point with some of the older doctors. It's like these kids are like, oh my God, this is like fucking Little House on the Prairie. And it's like, nah, this is how we ran things in 1995, kids.
Yep. Which is how I did. They were there because my God, if they weren't, I don't know what would have happened.
And that's the thing. It's like, I can't even blame these kids that are the nurses. They're the nurses' factotums or whatever. They're the paperwork managers. Mm-hmm. How can you get mad at someone for not knowing how to how carbon paper works if you've never seen it or done it before?
Yeah, totally.
You know, how, the fucking Anna Nolan, the nurse, never has heard a modem scream the song of its people.
I loved that little bit where throughout the entire episode, you could just hear this fax machine going off.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah.
And that's like, right. Anyone that's like under the age of 25 is probably like anywhere from 20 and 25, you're like probably 50-50 if you've ever heard that noise. But if you're under that, you have never heard that noise in your life.
I will say I'm a little surprised. I want to know how realistic this is from active doctors for them to have all this equipment immediately at hand. This analog equipment, right? To have all the stuff they like a fax machine. I can see sticking in a storage room, but like you're keeping around a place to put charts that like has pictures of people on it to diagnose like pictures. What's wrong with it. All that seemed like you should have thrown that out 20 years ago, but maybe they don't. Maybe they have it in a storage room somewhere for occasions like this.
I would love to hear from doctors, but here's what I think has happened because I went through all this in the IT world is after 9/11, the federal government started to be very concerned with disaster preparedness and procedures and started like mandating certain critical infrastructure had to start giving like, you have to have a disaster plan. You have to have a succession plan. You have to do this. I wonder if that's why they still have this stuff around is like, OK, they do. They have disaster prepared. They probably have like a Tiger team that runs a simulation, you know, once a year or something. And again, you got some doctors that remember when the paperwork was still done this way. And but the fish swimming around because I did not see bees and grass when I looked at that, man.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's medical on this and injuries on that. Is again, just from looking, I don't know if these are terrible illustrations. Illustrations. They're none of that's the other thing. Voice over IP, baby. Hardly any of their phones are working because we got rid of all the plain old telephone system lines. Yeah. They're having to write. They got a pharmacist there unlocking the safe, just handling paper orders. And the other crazy thing is labs being X-rayed.
Yeah.
And before fax machines, they were just ran up and down by couriers. You know, it's like, God damn, it's so much less efficient.
You gotta here's what you need to do with the CT scan results and the X-rays and all that. Just stick them in Yo-Yo's pocket when she comes back down because she's inevitably going to come back down. She can bring them with her. Then you can send her back up with your stuff and it'll work a treat.
There's you said Yo-Yo's going to be the courier. I mean, she does. She does come up and down the elevator like 6 times an episode. So sure, just
more than
give her
anyone.
A courier bag and just have an outbound and an inbound. So there's this little scene with Dr. Mohan where she's got this patient, George. He's the guy who is got this phobia now of his blood clot leaving his leg and blocking his brain or his lung or his heart and him dying. So he's always coming in and have these D-dimes. These are some kind of panel that tests for the chemical markers your body leaves when it's forming clots or busting clots or whatever that. And, you know, she can put him at ease, but he's got like a real phobia of it, which I can understand if you got the silent killer in your body, even if you're on medication for it. Like if you're even a little bit hypochondriac, right?
It worries me, and I don't have any diagnosis like that. I'm like, oh my God, a single blood clot could just go into my brain and kill me anytime.
Yeah.
Doesn't help that I had an uncle that died of an aneurysm, which is another freak kind of incident.
I had an ex-brother-in-law who was my age now die of an aneurysm. Just boom, gone.
Yeah, that's how old my uncle was, in his 40s. Like
crazy.
Yeah.
But Dr. Al catches her doing this and pulls her aside in the break room. Is like, hey, what are you going to do for fellowship? And she's like, oh, I want to do this, that, sports medicine, toxicology, ultrasound. She's like, wow, that's a little have you thought about geriatrics? Because you're really good with old people and there's lots of openings. And then Dr. Mohan had what reaction to that, would you say?
I don't exactly know how to read it, because I have like a read on George that was a little bit different. It wasn't so much the hypochondriac thing. It was a little bit of that for sure, but then it was also just like a loneliness thing. Like he just kind of wanted to come in here and talk with Mohan.
Okay.
Because she listens, right? Like, is this a consequence of her sitting with her patients and truly listening and hearing them? And she forms these great relationships. She picks up a couple of diagnoses occasionally that you might not have got to. But then you have people who might be just clogging up the works there to have a chat. So I don't know if the geriatrics thing is a perfect fit for her, because she might be a little too indulgent, and old people love to talk, man.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it, because I'll say this, like, I thought for a second that this might be Alan Tudyk in like old man makeup. I cannot believe how much this guy looks like Alan Tudyk aged up like 30, 40 years.
That sounds like something you do.
That's what threw me. And he's lawn bowling. I don't what the hell ever that is, but
what's the look
you might
on
be
her
onto
face?
something. I don't know, because it's like, is it a look of like, I've never considered that before? But I'd love to hear from doctors. I wonder if like geriatrics is seen as a less desirable job in medical professionals, because the chance of like meaningfully affecting someone's life is so much. Like, okay, you save a 78-year-old who's going to die in a year and a half anyway. That's different than like bringing a 12-year-old that's drowned in a pool back to life. That's different than like getting a 35-year-old father of 4 back on his right. And that, like, because of that, there's not as much. It's like a lot of the sense, like that's a lot of say, hey, your body's old and it's worn out, and we're fresh out of the OEM parts and back, so you're going to die.
Yeah.
And also the fact that like your patients are definitely going to die.
Oh, you'll see a lot of it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's always a potential when you're dealing with young, healthy people or people that aren't at the end. But like everyone you see in geriatrics is going to die in like a 5 to 10 year time span. And is that hard on doctors, especially doctors like Mohan that like to sit and talk and get to know? I just thought it's a weird. It felt like it's one of those things where it should have been in good news. Like, hey, I found you a fellowship that's right up your alley. But like her face did not look like it was necessarily good news. And I wasn't. So I'm just making up reasons why.
Yeah, I mean, she's weighing the pros and cons, right? Like the chance of making a meaningful impact on someone's life, like you said, is pretty low. The chance of encountering a meaningful impaction, that's much higher when you're dealing with geriatrics, as we saw a few episodes ago with poor Ogilvy.
It's also a subplot buried in this subplot, which is Mohan was doing some scientific research to look at medical disparities in outcomes among races, and the funding dried up at the beginning of the year, apparently.
Some commentary there, even from the nurse or whoever. I forget who she's talking to there. It might be Dr. Al. She says, it
was Dr. Al. She's like, it's a lot of it going around. I don't know. It's like, that's to me, because like, I don't know. I mean, there are huge differences in the biologies in terms of like what people are things are susceptible to and not susceptible to. And like, it just seems crazy to not. I'm reminded of the time where I think it was like women's car fatality rates were 2 or 3 times higher than men, despite having less average miles. And this was like a long time ago, just like 60s and 70s. And they started looking at holistic, like, oh, we only have average male crash test dummies. And we design our seatbelts and restraints to fit the average of that. So women who are lighter and smaller, those things actually can hurt them. And there's a lot of other things, like even simple stuff. Like I've heard that the ubiquitous putting your hands under the faucet and it reads your skin and it turns on does not work for very dark complected people, because the people that developed the technology and all the people testing it, you know, people who have lighter skin are overrepresented in those fields. It's like,
sure,
you know, I mean, I don't know. It's not like it's a question. Oh, I wonder if there's physical differences between, you know, people that grew up in different parts of the world. Like, so why would you want to study it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
like, it seems like the only reason could be if you are fine with the status quo that people of a certain genetic disposition are going to, on average, get better care than the others, and that's not a problem.
Right.
That's the only thing, but maybe there's another reason.
I don't know. I mean, the plot is definitely meant to like show a different way in which politics affects health care. You know, it's not just like the day to day where it costs too much and the doctors can't get the staff they need and all that, or the equipment. Yeah. It's also further research, further understanding of humans and all of our health issues. Yeah.
And it's like there's so many like knock-on effects. Like I thought Donnie's story was interesting too. He's like, you know, he's a nurse physician and he can prescribe certain medications. And I guess a big part of his job is like prescribing people medicine over the weekends when they can't get a hold of the doctor or whatever. And he's like, I got 12 people that need, and one of the doctors is like, God damn, why don't they go to their primary care doctors? And the other one's like, well, since the Medicaid cuts, we are there. So like, yeah, are we really saving money by forcing these people to come into the emergency room? Right. It seems crazy to me, but I don't know. I didn't finish college. Also, there's also I forgot this, like, cause like they've also been telling the story of Mohan being kind of up at arms with her mom. Yeah. Or maybe they haven't really told this but like, yeah, she had plans to change her complete life and go out to New Jersey to be closer to her parents because that's important to her. And her mom got married to some, I don't know, fuckboy, and they're selling everything and going to go tour the world. So it's like, shit, I guess I can do anything. And yeah, it's got to be frustrating, but also a little freeing too. Probably a little bit of both. It's probably very frustrating, especially when you're trying to run an ER department and your mom wants to know where you want to store your childhood mementos because they're selling the house. And because I didn't quite understand what they were talking about like 2 episodes ago when she's out in the ambulance bay, right, fighting with her mom. But like, okay, yeah, this is a lot. This is a lot to deal with as a kid. Let's see. Oh, Duke update. There's one of, you know, we talked about Robbie's motorcycle buddy. Thought he was going to be there in a morning shift. It's now 2 p.m. and Robbie's finally texting him. Whoever called on the death board or whoever called on our betting pool that he probably had a motorcycle, that's seeming more and more likely, right? Yeah. Was it you? Poor Duke is smeared across some highway. I don't think poor Duke is going to make it in. What if if he does make it in, it's going to be in bad shape. I wonder. Well, at this point, like, my God, if he's going to have a motorcycle accident, like he should have been brought in by now. Like maybe he's been bouncing around between closed hospitals. Westbridge went down. Shit, I'm here over to Penn Bros or whatever, and yeah. Oh, did I tell you right before I went to bed last night? I don't know why this came to my head, but I started to giggle because I was thinking about. Oh, I know, because I was on Discord and people were joking about our plans for the end of the pit, where it's like, you know, Robbie's wearing his motorcycle helmet, he's pulling out his motorcycle, and then a literal sinkhole swallows up the hospital. This is $1 million idea. Noah Wiley, executive producers, HBO. I my phone is open. I'm taking calls. Whenever you're sick of doing the pit, you have Robbie ride off on a motorcycle. The thing opens up, swallows up the pit, and it fades to black. And a few seconds later, you go to the Westbridge charge nurse desk.
Oh no.
And they're saying like, all of our things are being diverted from the Pitt. And their security guard's like, you know what that means? They put it up and somebody's like, it's a sinkhole. And then the Pitt is over. And now we're on to the bridge. We're crossing the bridge, baby. And Dr. Robbie can come because he wrote off. And all the doctors, maybe we can vote on this on the last season. They can have like a fan poll. All the doctors you hate. Like every doctor doesn't get over this popularity, like going to get swallowed in a sinkhole. All the others are going to be off duty or on vacation. And they're going to go to spice up the bridge.
I love it.
I love it too. I actually like, I'm so excited with my joke idea that I'm like, yeah, in 6 or 7 years, I would unironically think that would be cool. That would be awesome. We
need more joke endings for serious shows, I think. Like they tried all this stuff with the Saint Elsewhere, whatever it was called. That might be a Metallica album. I can't remember.
I don't want a spin off. I want a plane smacking into a mountain, bursting on fire, and survivors stumbling out to start a new show. That's what I want. No spin-offs. I want crash ups.
Love it.
We already talked about the Dr. King and Dr. Ellis non-discussion monologue. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you feeling me that that's a little too cute and it's going to blow up in her face because Dr. McKay or Dr. King has no poker face?
I keep wanting to go there with all of these cases, right? I keep expecting, the Harlow's going to have some condition that can't be treated now that they waited 2 hours, or like, King is going to fuck this up and somehow the case will be a problem again. I'm going to go positive on this. I'm going to say no. This is simply, you've had Robbie try and reassure her. You've had now this other doctor whose name I don't know because I barely know who she is. Dr. Ellis. Reassure her as well. I think this is just going to play out like it is. It's going to show that she is maybe worries a little bit too much. That's the point we're supposed to take away from this, I hope.
Because here's the situation, and the reason I'm asking is because like they established at the very beginning of the season that no matter what happens, Dr. King is not in any danger here. She, the person on the hook is Dr. Ellis, and them losing a slam dunk case and like Dr. Ellis maybe getting fired or having to pay more for insurance or go to like I could see that being an interesting development for because who's wrong in that situation? It's the mom who wouldn't get her kids vaccinated and didn't want them in a spinal tap, but like Dr. King could have done everything right just because of the way she is and the way she has a hard time, like lying, dissembling, hiding her feelings. She could get Dr. And the thing is like if Dr. Ellis just didn't do this, this is why it's like their element of a Greek tragedy. Like if Dr. Ellis had just followed the legal rules and not done this cute monologue, because like I could see the lawyers getting some doubt in here with the technicality of like, well, the doctor was trying to collude. That must be. I don't know how these things work. I'm just saying.
Sure. Yeah,
and you're right. Sometimes a deaf woman with a tummy ache and a headache is just a deaf woman with a tummy ache and headache. But half the time on this fucking show.
Oh, at least half. Yeah,
she's presenting with a xenomorph inside her, actually. So, anyway,
I want to talk about McKay and Langdon. That's the one I'm hot to talk about.
All right,
because you can't go in the same episode where the new girls come in and they say, "Oh my God, he's so fucking hot," and an episode after McKay's been like, "I need to get fucking laid," and then
we are still waiting on that beef injection order.
We've
been waiting 8 hours in this shit for this beef injection, and
then to connect
this doctor is only getting hotter,
dude. I can't help but feel they're setting something up, which is way worse, in my opinion, than hooking up with this patient.
I would be on board with it, except for I know Dr. Langdon has a wife and kids who have stuck with him through this process, and he says
dude, I get him the wrong dose of benzos, and I don't think it's off the table.
Can I say, as an enlightened man who thinks that men and women can have meaningful relationships that don't involve putting slot A into tab or putting tab A into slot B, that I got out of that is that Langdon has had not a single ally except for maybe Dr. Al, and what the hell does Dr. Al know about his situation? Mm-hmm. And Dr. King or Dr. McKay saying, like, because this has got to be trite. You hear it's like, oh, the first year's the words. Like, yeah, that's what I hear. And she's like, well, I've been 9 years sober. Like, that's like, yes. No, I don't think. I haven't been heard. I know. Also, I could be a resource for you. One of the,
Yeah, I'm totally kidding about them hooking up. I don't think it's going to happen. I do really like it, though. Yeah, I'm for sure. You could take it that way if you wanted. But I really like this moment because it does show like, hey, I know what you're going through, and nobody else here is saying that. Maybe nobody else can say that. And then the final thing is a nice note. Again, we got people, I think somebody called this, is that Mr. Digby, Charles Baker. Right. He's been lost for a whole shift. He comes back and he has been with Louis because they were, in fact, friends. He did clock that as he saw Louis being carted out, and he had a lot to say. And I thought that was super sweet. That as much as meaningful as the doctors who didn't really know him, doing a little debrief, the fact that like he had a good friend that spinning, I don't know, that really did something to my heart in a good way. Yeah, I liked it too. And then our final scene is Robbie and Dana just surveying this chaos. Everybody's screaming, everybody's putting things in the wrong place, the carbons aren't working, and I have a feeling that this calm before the storm, or this eye of the hurricane, has given us a moment, an hour's peace the eye is going to close next episode. Mm-hmm. Do you got anything else on the boards, Jim, that we need to take care of? No, sir. That's it. All right. Well, make sure you fill it out in triplicate and push really hard at that ball pin, will you? If you'd like to send us some medical feedback, some salacious doctor drama feedback, whatever, we accept it. thepit@baldmove.com. You can also support us on Patreon, support.baldmove.com, to get ad-free feeds and a lot of other bonus content and other things. And if you'd like to join our community of people who love to gawk at train wrecks and discuss doctor drama, and with some doctors and nurses in the crowd too, you can join our Discord. It's great. It's an awesome community. Discord.baldmove.com. All right, that's going to be it for this shift on the Pit. I am going to be off for the next 2 weeks. Jim is going to have some co-hosts, or maybe he'll monologue it. Maybe he's got a podcasting loophole that he can do. Yeah, a lot of our friends are not watching this. I reached out to one, but he's unfortunately unavailable, so we'll see. Well, I'm like Robbie says, I'm a short timer, so I don't know what the hell you're going to do, but yeah, I'll be in a beach in Belize, brother. Yeah, but I can't wait to get back, catch up, and find out what is going on in the Pit. Has it been swallowed up yet? Are we at Westbridge, the bridge? We'll see you next week, and I'll see you in a couple. Until then, I'm Roast Aaron. And I'm Jim. Bye.